Yes, guys, welcome back to the Coffee and Culture podcast. Today, we have a very interesting episode. We're going to talk about training pet peeves. But first, two things. We're going to go through caffeine of choice, and we've also, for everyone that is listening, Jake has been assigned Jamie, the role of Jamie from the Joe Rogan podcast. So everything we're about to say today, we're going to be able to fact check. Are we going to use Claude or GPT?
Go, Claude.
Okay. So yes, we have fact checker today, and then I'm going to start by letting the team down, or technically joining the team. Joining the team, I've got the monster today, like a little bitch, on the Coffee and Coaching podcast. So I'm actually extremely disappointed in myself. But woke up this morning and there was only one. There's just enough beans for one coffee, and saving it for Meg. So I'm on monsters this morning. So when she wakes up, I can make her a latte because it makes her happy. So we're going to go with monsters today. Has everyone else got a white monster as well?
No, Jake's actually got a coffee. I think I've seen him drink it before.
Yes.
Carrying the
Okay.
team today.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
uh,
we
Yes.
both at it.
I'm,
Doobie
I'm, I'm
too.
having a coffee
No.
later on with someone, so I thought I'd have a monster.
What, you only limit yourself to one coffee a day?
No, because I'll have a can of monster 'cause I was in the fridge. I'll have a pre-workout, and then I'll have a coffee. But can I have a coffee's decaf, can't I?
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
And
Okay,
you?
so
But
what did you
yeah,
say, Joe?
you just ask.
Yeah, it's a bit weird though. That's not like you. Sorry, carry on.
Let's get into training pet peeves. So first, I think Jake, yours I think is the best. So I think you should kick off.
What, gym pet peeve?
Yeah.
Someone who trains with a stringer or a vest and their nipples are out.
Expand. We need some information about why this is so frustrating too.
Um, it's just weird, isn't it? I don't
Yeah,
actually think it's any more complex and it's just weird. It's like, why would you train with your nipples out?
Yeah.
And it is always the same type of person that does it.
What type of person is
Someone
this?
who's on gear, they look like shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually
yeah.
very true.
And they got a fucking stringer with their nipples hanging out.
Here you can tell the blood pressure's high and the delta
Yeah.
massive, but they've got no arms.
Yes.
That's fucking me, that
I
mate.
was gonna say someone's getting very insecure right now.
Ali's like, no.
My blood pressure's actually fine right now, but my delts are massive. My arms are shit, so I probably fit that
Yeah,
description
but
quite
you don't
well.
train with your nipples out, do you?
No,
Yeah, so you're
I
right.
get Jay to take photos of me now though in the mirror sometimes.
Gonna say if you turn up in a stringer later, I'm leaving.
Nah, nah, I might wear a vest though.
Yeah, I think a vest in general is fine. It's just the nipples out is a little bit strange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think stringers pushing it now though. If you're a teenager getting into the gym, a stringer's all right. If you're a fully grown man, you're wearing a stringer.
Why is it okay for a teenager to do, but not a man?
Because you're naive. You're like, oh, I love getting into the gym and you're doing it for like, the fun of it.
I think
Mm.
it's just because Jake likes looking at teenage boys with the
I
nipples
was
out.
gonna say.
Accusations. I'm asking Claude about
No, okay,
Oh,
that's a good one. My pet peeve, any long-term listeners to the Coffee and Coaching podcast will be very aware of this, is shadow boxing in the gym after you finish the set. Oh my fucking God, get in the bin, you fucking gimp. Because what it always is it's someone who's good at fighting and has spent a lot of time practicing fighting, and they come into the gym and they feel emasculated because they're extremely weak and they're around people that are much bigger than them and stronger than them. And so they finish a set and feel like a bitch and then get up and feel the desire to demonstrate to everyone that they know how to fight. So they just start shadow boxing in the middle of the gym floor after every set. And for me, I'm just like, what the fuck are you even doing? This is not the place to be shadow boxing. And why do you feel so insecure where you have to prove to everyone that you can fight?
fair.
Discuss.
Got no
that. I
comments on
agree.
that. Yeah, I've got
I
no
No.
agree.
comments.
I fully back it.
Does anyone have a comment? I feel like you guys have not seen these shadow
I've seen
boxing
it.
Oh
guys.
yeah,
I've
we
seen
have.
it.
I've seen them. Yeah.
Mate, I've trained in proper gyms for a long time now, so you don't really see it as much, but you see it more like a pure gym or the gym or JD gym, don't you?
I've
Fair
seen people in
enough.
EP doing it.
I've never seen anyone EP do it.
Mate, shocking. Absolutely shocking. Like you say, pure gym, places like that, you'd expect it, but in more established gyms, yeah,
Yeah.
criminal. Absolutely criminal.
Why do you say it's criminal? Do you guys think it is an insecurity thing, or do you think it's just a habitual thing?
Just a bit of strange behavior, isn't it? Like, what's the
Mm.
need? I don't
Yeah, it makes no
understand.
sense. It makes no sense. It's
Yeah.
like imagine like doing a round on the pads and then just jumping down and doing press ups. It's like
Yeah, that's a fair. I feel like when it comes to them kind of situations, you've got a boxing gym for boxing, where that's classed as like normal, and
yeah,
then you've got gym where it's like lifting weights, which is when you're resting, you're supposed to be resting.
yeah. Do you know it's not even the act of the shadow boxing that I think is silly. It's the insecurity that they think that it's because they do it and their brain's on autopilot to make themselves feel less shit. And it just happens automatically. And I'm like, why are you so unaware
I
that
wonder
you
if they do
feel
it anywhere
insecure? Just
else,
like
like in the
get bigger.
shopping.
We're just in Costa.
Middle of Asda.
Have a black
Like they
coffee,
drop some
please.
or something and then they just go shit. Automatic mode, start shadow boxing.
Yeah, so that's mine. That's mine. Jake, what's yours?
Um, probably just like pure hygiene or just rudeness. Just simple things of
Yeah,
just general etiquette in the gym, innit? Just being aware of other people. You know, when people
yeah,
just don't really give a shit about other people in the gym or like leaving shit around in the gym, smelling bad. Just general
yeah.
etiquette.
Smelling bad's a heavy one.
Yeah, yeah.
You walk past someone in the gym and you can smell them from like feet away. That's horrendous. That is awful.
Yeah, it's not the one.
Like we've all wore them t-shirts, that have that bit of like a musty smell because you've worn them too much and they need to go in the
Yeah,
bin. But generally smelling a bow isn't good.
Yeah, but you don't radiate for like fucking a few feet, but
No, no,
like
but like, when you walk past one
you
and
might have a little
yeah,
sniff and go, oh yeah, maybe I need to
no, but you
burn this
walk in,
t-shirt.
yeah,
But you
but
don't
that's a
you
smell
don't
that,
radiate to other people, do
no,
you?
no, that's when we agree with you in regards like the shirt can hold on to smell, but you can have had a shower.
yeah.
But the
It's
people
the
who
people.
smell and they've not had a shower for a week
Yeah.
and they're then touching gym equipment.
Even just a
Right.
bit of spray, man.
Question. If you owned a gym and someone walked in and they smelled like that, would you kick them out?
Oh,
I think I'd speak to him about it.
yeah, I
I don't.
wouldn't kick them out because that's like I'd say I'd ask them to go get a shower in the gym.
Hmm. So your day pass is suspended until you get in that shower.
Yeah, it's just as we talk about just personal hygiene, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that should be a number one fundamental for us all
Yeah,
since a
absolutely.
very young age.
Ali, what's your pet peeve? And then, by the way, for listeners, we're going to go now into after this, we're going to do another round of specific pet peeves that are around mechanics. So we can then start talking about some
Yeah.
of the more nuanced things around training. But Ali, what's your social behavior pet peeve?
When people like Jake said it before, people being rude, fucking hate people and having inconsiderations for people around them. But also,
Yeah.
when people like are doing a set of like when people get really angry after set because it didn't go the way they wanted to go. And I'll give you an example of this. The lad's never going to listen to a podcast, and even if he did listen to a podcast, I'm not fucking arsed either. He done a set of leg extensions. By the way, I was in a bad mood anyway when this happened. He done a set of leg extensions. He then picked up his phone off his tripod and then threw his tripod across the gym. When I say threw across, he threw it about like 2 or 3 meters. And you're just like, fucking grow up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was like that, where it's like, I take the gym very seriously. Like I compete and I know all you do as well. But it's not that big. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's like how can I put it? Like that kind of thing where there's like an over emotion to it. Where yeah, that winds you up. It's like
Yeah.
just smile. People don't
Yeah.
smile in the fucking gym. Fuck me. Like that.
Yeah.
Just like fucking crap. Hi. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. Just smile, say hello. Like
yeah.
even it's just I think the whole bodybuilding industry to some degree is like this where there's not the whole industry. I mean, there's definitely characters within the industry that think it is the think it is war. The classic I'm in the trenches is like, no, actually, you're just prepping for the show that doesn't matter. And you're just choosing to eat less food. You're not actually in the trenches, no one's trying to blow your brain off. Like
Yeah.
no one's trying to, you're not gonna get bombed. It's like you are just choosing to eat a little bit less food. And I think they take it so seriously because the identity is attached to success in the thing, which I think is always a problem. That's why you get emotional reactions like that where people's whole identity, so him failing on that leg extension means in his mind, his subconscious brain is thinking, oh my God, I'm a piece of shit, I'm a failure. So now I've got to lash out on this fucking tripod. Like, get a grip, man.
I think it's the tripod's not exactly moving back on him, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just I think that like obviously when it comes to bodybuilding, there's a lot of emotion, isn't there? And I'll say this because like there's a lot of potentially insecurities when it comes to the sport as well. But it's like I think lockdown put it into perspective for a lot of us. Like a lot of people who went to the gym and the gym was a big part of their life that was either your job or it was just a massive hobby. When that got taken away, I like to think it made everyone appreciate it more. So like
Yeah,
to go there and enjoy it. But then when people just get all irate and upset about missing a leg extension or a tricep push down, it's like, fuck me. Like there's something a bit, do you know, like if you're doing a hack squat or you're
hmm
doing like an incline chest press, and it's like you really, really want to get this number. And then you mess up on the setup or something like that and you get a little bit wound up.
hmm
That's, I understand that. But you're like the
Yeah,
pure, but I'm not going to throw a tripod across the gym. Like that
yeah,
just
for
like,
sure.
just, I think the issue I've got with the behavior like that's like EP is quote unquote like a bodybuilding gym as well. But there are quote unquote normal people who go there. And like you want to make them feel as comfortable as possible. That
Yeah,
behavior doesn't make people feel comfortable, and that behavior is worth a fucking slap across the face.
yeah, yeah. No, do you know, I think in some ways it's respectable because I'm thinking from to play devil's advocate, there'll be some hardcore bodybuilders that are like, like disagree with this because he's showing passion towards the sport, which is great. He wants to win and he hasn't done what he's done. Hasn't done what he wanted to do and it's pissed him off, which is great 'cause it's like high standards, whatever. But being so emotionally dysregulated that you have to throw a tripod across a gym
Mhm.
because you didn't hit the target and you can't accept that progress isn't always going to occur fundamentally is a problem.
I'm not I wasn't annoyed at the fact of he got upset at missing the lift. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like as you said before, like I like to hit PBs. I like to make progress. So if I don't, like Jacob vouch this, I can get internally a little bit pissed off in my head when things
yeah,
don't go. But as you said, it's the inability to manage his emotions to then affect other people in the gym.
You know,
yes,
if it was someone, say like obviously Naz trains at EP,
No, that's
someone
not.
who
Go on,
someone no,
sorry.
but it's someone of a certain like so like someone who's at the top of their game. If they're acting like that, and that's what it is, you know, you see footballers they act a bit rogue at times, but they can sort of because they're at such a high level, people sort of expect it, a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, a little bit of arrogance and a way to act. But people that we see do this are just young lads that, like you said, can't really
Yeah.
emotionally regulate themselves. They're not really like it's not like they're not at the top of their game, so it's questionable that why do you need? It's not really needed, is it? It's just not. It's
I
not.
think so the reason why so did you see Rory? Did you watch golf anyone? No,
no,
okay. Well, they really, really start to clamp down on like misbehavior in golf, okay? And when I say
hmm
misbehavior, it's like no slamming clubs and things like that. I can understand when there's millions of dollars or millions of pounds on the line and you're supposed to hit the fairway and then you hit it 50 yards right, how you can get frustration. But when you're slamming a golf club, there's no repercussion to anybody else. If a footballer lashes out at another footballer, that's the sport where it's one. It's like two, they're fighting against each other, not fighting against each other, they're playing against each other. When it's just you v you and the bodybuilding thing, but there's other people around within that environment, that's when I don't think it's acceptable. If Jake was training in his own gym and he missed a leg extension and then he threw his tripod across the room, yeah, tell him nobody else is there. Do you know, like you're not influencing or impacting anybody else, and I think that's where I think it's really, really wrong. Is like your emotions and your inability to manage your emotions is now making other people. It could affect other people. And I think that's where
yeah,
again, like that, it's your own personal responsibility. Because if and for example, went over to him and leave the gym, nobody could disagree with that. Because it's just not good. It's just not good
hmm
gym etiquette. It's not good gym rules. The same way as a football player got in a
yeah,
fight with somebody else, sent off. If you smash your golf club against a tee box now, it's a serious fine. Like there's
hmm
rules and there's consequences. But I feel like the issue when you got like someone
makes
from the
sense.
gym environment is like there's no consequences to your actions. You can scream, you can shout, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um, Jake, do you have a gym mechanics pet peeve when you see people actually training?
Just a training pet peeve, not necessarily mechanics, just a pet peeve. Like glue kickbacks and a stairmaster kind of shit.
You're gonna have loads of these, aren't you?
Well, there's one.
I,
Kickbacks on a stairmaster.
I've
Looking
got
back to
loads
that.
of these, but the reason why I've got so I don't care what anybody does in the gym.
Yeah.
I care when people say stupid statements.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. When
yeah,
someone says something that's objectively wrong with confidence, it really pisses me off.
yeah. That's actually what I was going to say. Like that was the next one that comes to my mind was people who do exactly that.
Yeah,
Give you like the worst piece of advice that you didn't ask for, and you go and see him do a set, and it's like the most horrendous set you've ever seen in your life.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what the funniest piece of advice that I ever got in the gym one time was some guy came up to me. He was in lockdown actually. We were training. Um, he saw me doing calf raises and he came up and told me that I should do 9 sets of calf raises and I should do 3 sets with my feet this way. And for everyone that's not watching, it was with my feet turned out, then feet turned straight, and then feet turned in. And I should do 3 sets on each to make sure that I grow the whole of my calf. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, my brain is so sore from not telling you how stupid you are. Like having to restrain from starting this conversation
Did he
was one
have
of the
calves?
hardest things of my whole training career.
Did they have calves, as Jake just said?
He did have good calves, to be fair.
I do think calves is massively genetic.
It's
That's
just
what,
where you fucking
yeah,
gastroc inserts.
yeah. Like Nathan Bevins piss me off all the time, mate. Anytime he wears shorts, that's like there's a reason why I keep trackies on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just genetic, one, isn't it?
there's mad his calves, mad.
Okay. My gym pet peeve is when people do tricep push downs and turn it into a chest press. I hate that so much.
Okay,
Like, why are we full stacking the fucking tricep push down and turn it into a decline press? Just do a tricep push down, man. Like, just use your triceps. Don't turn it into a press. That's it. That's my one. Ali, what's your one? You had a
I've got loads.
long.
Mine's gonna like line up with what Jake's gonna say. Like, I hate heels off a leg press or heels off a hack squat or heels off a pendulum squat. I hate that. I don't know where
Mhm.
the trends come from. Like Tom Platz used to do it. Um, I don't know where the trends come from. I think I can't understand the logic. I think everyone's going to hurt their knees at some point. So like the thought, I understand the thought process in regards to you're going to get a bigger moment onto the knee joints, so you're going to be able to create more of a chance of the quad. But theoretically, then you're going to have to reduce the load. If you're not reducing the load, it's a recipe for disaster.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
also you can't produce as much force because the whole foot is now not against the platform to drive off. So I'm not a big fan of that. People, like I said, I don't care what people do. It's when people speak in absolute statements and they're wrong.
Yes.
That's what I don't like. It's like there's nothing wrong. For example, like I'll let Jake say his first, and then I'll go back to what my point of view is on it. Well, what's yours, Jake?
I have two.
Well, what's your which one of them we going for first?
One of them, people lifting loads that they probably have no right to be lifting, just ego lifting. That's, I think, from us as professionals or as coaches, when we see that, it probably just hurts us a little bit inside. Um, and then secondly, people who slag off using things like Prime, so like people saying that using cam 3 or cam 5 or loading in the sort of lengthened position makes the exercise easy. Again, from our perspective as coaches and people who are sort of slightly more educated than other people, we understand that there's a purpose behind it, and for some people then to throw shit at it or about it, again, probably just hurts us a little bit in the sense of just winds us up.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe give listeners a bit of context on Camp 3 and Camp 5 just so they understand.
Yeah, so cam 3, cam 5 is just loading and exercising that length and position. So heavier in the stretch and it drops off as we get shorter, which matches and marries up to the strength profile of our body.
Mhm. So, Ali, do you remember in Prophecy years ago when there was huge arguments about reverse banding?
I got called out by what's his name? Fucking who's the one who owns Body Tech? Nick. Is it
Nick
Nick?
Kappa.
Nick Capel, you called me out.
Did he?
First and last time I've ever been called out in the video. Yeah, yeah. To be fair, he called me out because I reversed band the Arsenal Pro Pendulum, and he done some big statement about me. It was Tom Routley who sent it to me, and then about 2 months later, he messaged me apologising because I was supporting his gym.
Were you
Um,
right?
to be fair, mate, when I look back, I probably had the tension on the bank kicking in too early.
Yeah,
The
fair.
thought process is still correct, yes.
Yeah,
Like I still live and die by that.
Yeah. Is that the let's create two groups. There's meathead bodybuilders that just like lift heavy and don't think, and then there's science guys, and then you probably want to be somewhere in the middle, science nerds. Um, so for listeners who are unaware of this ongoing debate, is meatheads basically think that if you change the strength profile to make it match, sorry, if you change the resistance profile of an exercise to make it match your strength profile, meaning it's heavier in the lengthened and gets lighter in the shortened position, that that's making it easier because technically it does make it lighter. It makes it feel a little bit easier. The science guys say that that makes more sense because you will be able to hit failure more consistently. It makes more sense just anatomically to set an exercise up in that way. You're able to get more from the exercise. And so there's that that idea that okay, if I change this resistance profile, does it make it easier? And I think a lot of people just struggle to understand is like how can making something feel easier actually create more outcome? Ali, can you sort of go into why you would potentially reverse a Smith press, for example, or
It
a
doesn't make
hack
it,
squat?
it's not, it doesn't make it easy, it makes it more efficient. So the same concept is, right, it's like, why would you have a spotter?
Yeah,
It's the same thought process. So let's say like reverse banding the hack squat, for example. So the hack squat is a linear moving, it's a linear sled. So what the thing, firstly, and I am going to knock off on a waffle here, okay? But I'm just going to say this: people like a pendulum squat, and then people slag off a hack squat. When you reverse band, when you reverse band the hack squat, you are mimicking to some degree what a pendulum squat does, which
yeah.
is it gets light at the bottom and gets heavy at the top. So the thought process is, as I said, for example, if you had 100 kilos on a sled on a hack squat, that load is not going to change, but the knee joint moves further away at the bottom of the hack squat or any kind of squatting movement. So the 100 kilos at the bottom is significantly heavier for what the body can actually, or is significantly heavier for what the body can manage at the bottom, what it can do at the top. Okay. But what people don't understand the concept of, let's say it's 100 kilos and let's say the band makes a drop off 20 kilos at the bottom. Okay. So it now goes, say, and the way I describe this is like, say, 1 centimeter out is one, 2 centimeters out is two. This like the distance the knee joint gets away from the line of force. So the further and further and further that knee joint gets further away, the greater the moment arm is. So even though yes, it is lighter at the bottom, it's still its heaviest at the bottom. Does that make sense? So that does that make sense what I'm saying? So even though it's 100 kilos, so let's say there was no sled, and let's say the knee joint goes four, we'll just say four. It's not centimeters, inches, it's just four. It goes four. That's a distance of the moment arm is four. So there's still 400
Hmm.
kilos of torque happening at the knee joint, for example. Okay. But if you drop that off to 80, which you said that the resistance band takes 20 kilos off, that's still 320 kilos of torque happening to the knee joint. So you just make the profile more flat,
Hmm.
which is what we're trying to do because there's a stacking element when it comes to squatting movements and pressing movements where there's no converging. So when obviously joints are stacked, there's no tension. That's why you can just stand there all day with a hack squat. And
Yeah, for
that's why
sure.
if you look at reps, it's like why do people do half reps? Because it's easier. It's easier to
Yeah.
do half rep. So it's easier to do a quarter rep at the top than it is to do a quarter rep at the bottom. Why
Yeah.
is that? Because it's harder at the bottom than it is the top. So I've got no issue with people who don't reverse band hack squats. I've got issues with people go, it makes it easier. Sometimes, mate, I can't be arsed now with kit.
Yeah.
Like I'm old, I'm lazy, I just want to get in and out the gym as much as I can. So I'm just going to try and pick machines that I don't have to load that heavy.
Yes. I think that's the key thing, isn't it? It's when people refuse to learn and try and understand things and then say that doesn't work because it makes it easier because they're just going off what the actual sensation is. But like when we think about it, and just to try and make that simpler for people that don't understand mechanics at all, is if you think about doing a hack squat, it's really heavy at the bottom and it's really light at the top. So you might be limited. Let's say you can only put 100 kilos on it because if you put 150, you wouldn't be able to get back up. You have to put 100 on, otherwise you get stuck at the bottom. But when you put 100 on, you just about get out the bottom. It's so easy at the top, so easy for the second half of the rep, just really hard at the bottom. You put the band on, maybe you can put 150 kilos on and it comes to 100 at the bottom. And then when you get to the top, the bands come off and I've got 100 kilos at the top as well. Obviously, just super simple numbers. It just means that it's evenly difficult all the way through. There's an even level of difficulty throughout the whole rep. So that's what we're essentially trying to do. But I think that is one thing that's frustrating is just when people refuse to accept that there is a level of complexity around trainers they don't understand because there definitely is. But then it's also at the same time being like, okay, well, yes, we can understand all this complex stuff, but also can we do a bit of retard maxing, right? Me and Jake have been speaking about this recently. I think retard maxing is hugely underrated. Is anyone? Have you guys heard of retard maxing?
No, what's that?
You, Jake?
No.
Right, Jake, you're gonna have to tell them what retard maxing is.
Just put it into Claude.
Get a full definition. It's essentially the idea that being too intelligent can
Yeah.
sometimes slow you down.
Okay.
Re Retard maxing is an internet slang term that means deliberately acting foolish, carefree, or unbothered, essentially leaning into not caring what others think and doing whatever you want without overthinking or self-consciousness. That's it.
Mm. Well, I think
Maybe
the
I think
idea,
we've taken our own version from this.
yeah, our own bit. It's not so much about thinking about what other people do, but just like being a bit stupid and just aggressively taking action on things. So it's like
Yes.
if you in the training context, for example, yes, it's really cool to reverse band stuff or whatever, if it's programmed in. Also, even if you don't reverse band it and just train ridiculously hard, you will grow fucking massive quads.
Hmm.
Like full stop. It doesn't really matter. The
It does matter.
but then at the same time though, well, it's not going to be a limiting factor for you to be able to get to a very high level. But if you
No.
then worked ridiculously hard and also reverse banded it and were also clever, then you'll probably just get some more from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it gives you an extra 5%. And what I think what you've got to work out is that extra 5% worth the time it takes you to figure out the setup.
Yeah. Because if you get less buy-in from doing a reverse band, then there's no point in doing it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're the kind of person where it's like, ah, yeah, I'm more prone to retard maxing, then don't
It
do it.
just feels better. I just honestly, I generally, I understand the concept of no can't be arsed setting it up. And then
Yeah.
obviously you've got to have days to change carabiners and bands. I understand not wanting to rock around with that. But you have so much control out the bottom. And then when it gets to the top, and there's a difference between reverse banding and top banding as well. So that's a different conversation for a different day. But like when you get to, you can feel the load getting heavier.
Hmm.
So you can feel yourself working harder through the concentric. It's like having a spot on every rep. Now, the issue you've got with the reverse banding is obviously the more load you lift, the more band you need to resist.
Hmm.
So as you get stronger, you are probably going to need. So, for example, you might do 3 plates in the Cybex and one green band's enough. You go to 5 plates and then you need the green and the blue. You go to seven, you need the green and the green. Because that amount that the load has to drop off the bottom has to be greater.
Hmm.
Because we are so much stronger at the top in squatting movements than we are on the bottom. Again, just the joints moving. But
Absolutely.
I agree with what Jake says. It's like there's nothing wrong with putting things on cam one. There's nothing. I don't care if you load it all in. Peg one. I really couldn't give a shit if you enjoy it and you get strong. But just don't make silly statements.
It's being open, isn't it? It's just,
Yeah.
it's not, there's a million ways to do things, isn't there? And as long as you've got a reason for why you're doing that certain thing, that's fine, you crack on. But then also don't impede that on other people saying that potentially other people are right or wrong.
It's
Yeah.
simple. That's
It's
just go to me. Just tell me how it's making it easier.
it's the Dunham-Kruger effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake, pull up the actual definition of this, where it's like the people who know absolutely fuck all are making objective statements as if they're facts, but they're wrong. That's what we're speaking of. Is frustrating. And then essentially, as you learn more and get to know more, the more you get to this type of conclusion where it's just like, ah, well, pretty much everything works. What's the definition, Jake?
It's a tendency for people with low skill in a subject to be overly confident because they lack the expertise needed to recognize their own limitations.
Yes.
Spot on.
Well, it's the midwit meme, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's the midwit mean.
Explain the midwit meme for people who haven't seen it.
But it's the same, isn't it? It's the exact same as that. It's the at the beginning, you don't know what you're doing, but you do the basics, so you get more confident and you go, oh, I've just got to do this. And it works. And you get to a point where it's like, oh, I can learn more. And then you make it more complex than it needs to be. And
Hmm.
then you stress out over all the tiny details that don't matter. And then you make less progress. And then you realize, like you just said, it all matters. It all makes progress. So then you just go back to doing the basics. It's like
Yeah,
the is it the Pareto principle? It's like 80% of the work is like two things.
yeah. I have a take on this though. So I think the midwit meme fails to capture this. So midwit meme basically goes, if fitness context is like eat protein, train really hard, make sure you eat calories, get results. We know that's pretty much it. Like go to sleep on time, hit your calories, hit your protein, train really hard. You'll get pretty decent results. Anyone can say that who doesn't really know anything. And then you go through the middle bit where you get obsessed with all of the details,
Hmm.
and you do often stress and think about a lot of stuff that doesn't matter. And then you eventually get to another time where someone, a client could come to us and start talking about all this complex stuff, and it's like, we don't need to think about this, just focus on this one thing that will mean that everything else falls into place perfectly. In order to get to that level, though, of mastery where you can say the simple thing that moves the needle, you have to have gone through that period where you overcomplicate everything to really understand the nuances of every single detail. Because someone who is new wouldn't have the level of perspective to be able to say the one simple thing that that person needs to actually get the result later. So you have to go through that middle bit in order, because even though the master might say the exact same thing as the beginner, the master's saying it with a lot more nuance, a lot more complexity, a lot more depth behind it because they can already predict exactly what's going to occur next because they've got such a big context window of experience.
I think just to add into that, and then we're finishing this note now, is what you just said then's perfectly correct because once you've been through the process, you actually then know what does and doesn't matter. Until you've actually been through the process, you can't actually say for sure what does and doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It's like me and Nathan say this a lot now in education in regards to like, it is just the basics. But to understand it is just the basics. You've got to have done the deep dive into a load of bollocks. When it's
Hmm.
not load of bollocks, it's like they get used at specific times, but they don't get used all the time. But because
Hmm.
when you've done that, as you said, what we've all been through, where we've deep dived, we've overcomplicated things, and then we've come back to just right, just let's just train hard and let's enjoy it because I've tried all this, so I actually know that this is only needed to be used at specific times. Whereas if
Hmm.
I do this 90% of the time, then that comes in 10%. But you have to understand when that 10% comes in, which means you have to go through the complexity times.
Yeah.
Do you think once you've done the complex stuff, it makes the basics even easier though?
I think it makes you believe in the basics even more so.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're especially starting off on this journey, and we see this with a lot of young coaches, they think there's a secret. There's a secret why my client's not losing weight. The client's not losing weight because they're still eating too much food. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. But until you've been through the thing of looking at digestion, stress management, um, AIP diets, whatever it may be, and it's like, okay, cool. So I can put my clients on all this, right? And they will lose weight. And try and put your clients on that and they're still not losing weight. And it's because you still realize they're going to Mackey's on a Friday night.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think, again, that's what it's the whole point of quote unquote the journey, isn't it? Like we all go through a journey. Like Isaac, you met me when I was in my fucking mechanic's peak,
Hmm.
when I was fucking daisy chaining. I fucking bought some like hanging sleeves kind of thing to do pull downs because I didn't want to use my upper arms because the upper arms are relevant for the pull down. And
Hmm.
mate, it was fun. And like it was
Yeah.
really cool. And it was like I really, really appreciate it so much. Whereas now it's like, should we use this one, Jake? This one's free. We'll just use this. We'll
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
use the
Yeah.
same cues. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
100%.
And I think you have to go through that process to really understand what you love and to really have a passion for it. Whereas now we can
100%.
speak about it with authority on this podcast, but
Yeah.
we can make sure we just enjoy ourselves when we train.
Yeah. Because I remember it's like I remember back in the property days, I think you'd left at this point is like when I really got into mechanics, like after you left, and it was like fucking getting the crane scale out
Yeah.
for people's hack squats and like weighing everything and just making sure that the band was fucking absolutely perfect and doing mats in the middle of the fucking gym.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to. Like, for example, a lot of people listening to this who want to grow big legs and you don't even know what a crane scale is, you don't know about friction force, you don't have any fucking clue, you'll still be able to get big quads. Whereas like if you speak to me about what to do on hack squat, you'll get bigger quads because I've been through all of that before, got the context window, and it's like I think the essence of what we're trying to say is like the more you obsess around details and gather a big context window, the simpler fitness becomes, and then you just get to a point where it's just like, okay, eat your protein, go to the gym hard, go to the gym, train really fucking hard, and go to bed on time.
Yeah. Wrap up there.
Yeah.
What's that?
Guys, thank you for being with us today. Please subscribe and share this with someone that you think would find it useful. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Go on Amazon and buy daisy chains, carabiners, and green bands.
And tag us.